A lot of youth in different cities that you stopped at. What's your take, because I think you've been early on this, on, 21 Savage had the streets movement that he kind of has been promoting these last...
I don't give a fuck about that. I am the streets, I love the streets, I come from the streets. I ain't on all that pussy ass shit.
Bitch ass up. Stop saying my motherfucking name. Don't think cause a nigga trying to change that. Man, y'all niggas sit down.
Yeah, you heard that right. 21 Savage just snapped after getting called out by the so-called Great Slime himself. And from how this is looking, this messy back and forth is nowhere near cooling down. Now listen to this, because we're about to break down every layer of this situation and how it's heating up so fast that things could turn really ugly really soon. So the real question is, how did we even get here? Sit tight, because this one isn't surface level at all. It's deep. Alright, to really understand the tension, we gotta spin the clock back for a second. For a while now, 21 Savage has been on this heavy forget the streets wave, and yeah, it's been very loud. My guy's been hopping city to city, chopping it up with the youth, basically telling them there's more to life than banging sets. On paper, that sounds solid. I mean, who's mad at someone trying to steer kids away from early graves, right? But hold up, here's where it gets complicated. When you come from a place like East Atlanta Zone 6, where the streets are very real, and you start telling others how to move, not everybody's gonna clap for that. Some folks start asking, who put you in charge of giving out street advice? Do you feel what I'm saying? Now don't get it twisted, 21's resume in the streets is stamped. This ain't a fairy tale. Dude survived getting shot 6 times on his 21st birthday, and one of his closest people didn't make it home. That moment is literally where the name 21 Savage comes from. This isn't branding, it's a reminder. So when he speaks on leaving that life alone, it's not preachy, it's personal. He's watched it destroy everything around him. He's buried too many people, and now he's trying to stop the cycle before it keeps spinning. Let me add a little more context so you really understand his mindset. Back in 2013, when he was still deep in the streets, he lost his brother Qantas to gun violence. Not long after that, his close friend Larry was gone too. These weren't just names, these were his day ones, the people who shared his food, his pain, his come-up. And when that kind of loss keeps hitting you back to back, it rewires how you see life. Early on, 21 didn't shy away from glorifying that street energy in his music. Tracks like No Heart and X were raw, unfiltered street diaries. But time, money, and more funerals changed his lens. He started realizing the influence he had, especially on kids who hung on his every word. This whole forget the streets movement didn't just fall out of the sky. It's been slowly brewing for years now. You really saw it take shape when he doubled down on community work back in Atlanta. He launched the 21 Savage bank account program, teaching kids financial literacy where nobody ever bothered to before. Then came the Leading by Example Foundation, aimed at giving real help to underserved youth. But here's the turning point. He stopped moving in silence. He started saying it with his chest in interviews and online. He was directly telling kids that gang life is a dead end, saying stuff like, forget your set, forget your block, none of that matters long term. And when you talk like that, you gotta know how different places are gonna take it. In Atlanta, most people understood because they watched his evolution in real time. They know he earned the right to speak on it. But once that same message hit cities like Chicago, Louisiana, and California, the reactions split. Some people respected it. OGs who already paid the price saw the wisdom in it. But the younger dudes, still active, they felt slighted, like he was dismissing their pain or acting like their reality wasn't valid. Now here's something a lot of people forget. 21 and YoungBoy weren't always on opposite sides. There was a time when they were cool, no tension, just mutual respect. Around 2019 and 2020, you could see the love publicly. No sneak disses, no weird energy, 2 heavyweights doing their own thing. But here's the part you can't ignore. When the whole Lil Durk versus YoungBoy situation popped off and 21 was seen leaning toward Durk, that planted a seed of tension, whether anyone admitted it or not. Let me pause and explain why that matters, because this is key to understanding the current fallout. The Dirk and YoungBoy beef isn't entertainment, it's serious business. This isn't just songs and tweets. People lost their lives behind this. And once King Von was killed in Atlanta, everything escalated to a different level.
King Von and his group were at Opium nightclub before making their way here to Monaco Hookah Lounge, then to the parking lot where chaos ensued.
So with 21 being from Atlanta and also locked in with Dirk, that automatically put him in a weird spot. Now, to be clear, 21 never outright dissed YoungBoy or jumped into the beef publicly, but there were little moments being seen with Dirk, certain posts, certain vibes that YB's camp could easily read as choosing a side, even if that wasn't 21's intention. And once that perception is out there, you already have tension simmering under the surface. Then, on top of that, 21 rolls out this whole forget the streets movement. And to somebody like YB, who's still knee-deep in everything, that can come off a little hypocritical. Like, hold up, you just showed love in a street beef, but now you're preaching about leaving the streets alone? Now, let's slow down and talk about YB's perspective, because context matters here. YB is only 25, and listen to this. He's lived more chaos than most people see in 2 lifetimes. He's been shot at, stabbed, locked up multiple times, lost close people, and been battling cases non-stop. For him, the streets aren't some chapter you just close when the money comes in. Even if he wanted to walk away, the problems haven't walked away from him. He's got active situations, real threats on his life, and real loyalty to people still stuck in the trenches. So when someone tells him forget the streets, it can feel like they're brushing off his entire reality. Like, easy to say from the other side of the fence when your life ain't under constant pressure. And let's be real, YB has never been the type to clean up his message or play the PR game. He's always stood on exactly who he is and where he's from. That raw honesty is why his fan base rides so hard for him. No filter, no polish. So when he gets asked about 21's Forget the Streets movement in that recent interview, you can tell the irritation was already there. The interviewer brings it up, framing it like 21's been early on this wave, trying to guide the youth and all that. And YB? Man, he did not bite his tongue at all. He straight said he doesn't give a damn about that. Then he doubled down, said he is on the streets, he loves the streets, he comes from the streets, and he's not on that other stuff. Yo, when I first heard that, I won't lie, I sat back. Because that wasn't just a disagreement, that felt personal. He basically dismissed the entire movement as nonsense. That's not a critique, that's a shot. But he wasn't finished. He kept talking, saying people are confused about what the message even is. He tried to clarify that it's not about not protecting yourself, but at the same time, he made it crystal clear he does not rock with what 21 is pushing. And then he dropped the line that really lit the match. He said something like, "That's the narrative somebody is pushing, and I'm pushing my narrative." Translation? I don't care what 21's talking about, I'm doing me. And the way he emphasized my narrative told everyone this wasn't casual. This was him drawing a hard line and saying he fundamentally disagrees with 21's whole approach. Once that interview hit, the internet lost its mind. Sides were chosen instantly. Some people were saying YB was keeping it real, like you can't tell people how to live their lives. Others were defending 21, saying he's literally trying to stop kids from dying. What's wrong with that? Twitter turned into a war zone. You had YB fans calling 21 fake woke and saying the positivity was just for image. On the flip side, 21 fans were saying YB was glorifying violence and dragging the culture backward. It got ugly fast, like it always does. But here's the part that really caught everyone's attention: the timing. Because just when folks thought it couldn't get messier, 21 Savage responded. And this is where you gotta lean in, because even though 21 didn't say YB's name, the message was loud. Let me set the scene for you. 21 jumps on social media looking heated. You could tell he was in his feelings, and he started ranting about people speaking about him and talking about the streets. Now, officially, he was responding to Fabio Foreign, who had thrown some shots his way. But let's be honest, that was small potatoes compared to what YB just said.
Once 21 dropped that response, people instantly started putting the puzzle pieces together. He came out swinging, saying, "Stop throwing my name around, and don't think just because a nigga is trying to grow that you can play with him. Sit down somewhere, for real." You could hear the irritation all over his tone. This wasn't fake outrage. This sounded like somebody genuinely frustrated. He's trying to push something positive and still catching heat from every direction. Then he really leaned in, and this is when it felt like he was talking to more than one person at once. He said if you're walking around with a 38, don't speak to him about the streets. And if you're 35 plus, still chasing rap dreams from your teenage years, don't talk to him about the streets either. Now that part, that could definitely fit 5-yo. But then 21 dropped a line that made everybody pause. He said, y'all keep running with this street savage talk. Savage this, savage that. Savage actually shot one of y'all in real life and y'all know it. Stop playing. Yo, that was a reminder, a cold one. Don't confuse growth with weakness. Just because he's on a more positive wave doesn't mean his past disappeared, and he made sure folks understood that. Then he doubled down even harder. He basically said, don't think because Savage is on some positive energy that it's open season to talk about him all day every day. Nah, that's not how this works. He warned him straight up, you can still get touched. That wasn't rap talk, that was a line in the sand. Like, don't keep poking the bear just because the bear is trying to evolve. But here's the part that really stood out to me. 21 started explaining why he feels so strongly about all this. And low-key, he exposed a lot of people. He said, y'all haven't seen enough in the streets to even feel how I feel about the streets. That's where the disconnect is. He went further, saying he doesn't care about what your homies did or what your block did. He's talking to you as an individual, and you personally haven't done anything in the streets. That's different. That's him saying a lot of these dudes speak on street life through proximity, not experience. They're adjacent to it, but they haven't really lived it. And because they haven't lived it, they can't understand why he's trying to pull people out of it. This is the part a lot of people miss. There's a huge difference between being from the streets and being in the streets. There's also a difference between knowing stories and carrying trauma. And 21 was calling all of that out. He kept going, saying, y'all haven't cried enough, y'all haven't lost enough, period. You could feel the hurt behind that. That's not ego, that's pain talking. That's someone who's buried real people, telling others they don't have the right to question his motives. And then he wrapped it up with the ultimate dismissal. He told them to stick to rapping. Translation, y'all aren't built for this conversation. Stay in your lane, make your songs, because when it comes to real street weight and real life consequences, you're not qualified to speak on it.
And this is where things start getting even wilder. 21 shifted gears and started calling out people who swear they're street, but nobody's actually seen them in decades. He joked about dudes being gangsters on Area 59, basically saying, y'all doing all this tough talk from remote locations, not really outside like that anymore. When he said, y'all be gangsters on Area 59, remote location ass niggas, ain't seen y'all in 30 years, that was a clean shot at internet gangsters, the ones who bark loudly online but stay far away from any real consequences. Now pause, because there's another layer here that matters. When 21 says, how the fuck can you tell a nigga from a whole other state what they are, you don't even know, he's touching a nerve. Hip-hop history is full of moments where people from one city try to dictate rules to another city, and it rarely ends well. 21 is Atlanta, YB is Baton Rouge, two totally different worlds, different gang structures, different street politics, different rules. But at the same time, violence is violence, death is death, pain is pain. That part doesn't change by zip code. And from 21's perspective, his message goes beyond geography. Now, zoom out with me, because this is bigger than just these two. This beef really represents a deeper issue in hip-hop culture. This isn't just two rappers disagreeing, it's the constant tension between staying authentic and growing as a human being. Hip-hop has always put authenticity on a pedestal, so when someone like 21 Savage, who built his whole image on being a real street rapper, starts pushing a message that feels opposite to that image, it messes with people's heads. Folks start asking questions. Is he still real? Is this PR? Is he contradicting himself? Or is he genuinely evolving and trying to help?
Here's the wild part though. While 21 and YB are trading shots and fans are fighting in comment sections, kids in the hood are still dying every single day. That's what gets overlooked. 21's message, whether you like him or not, is about saving lives. It's about giving young people another option besides a lifestyle that statistically ends in prison or a grave. So when he says, fuck the streets, he's really saying, fuck a system that chews up young black and brown kids and spits them out through violence, incarceration, and early death. So, but important, YB and people on his side aren't wrong either. It's easy to say fuck the streets once you've already made it out, once you've got millions, security, options, and the ability to move your family somewhere safe. What about the ones still stuck? What about the people who don't have an exit yet? For them, the streets aren't always a choice, they're survival. That's what YB means when he says, I am the streets, I love the streets. He's not glorifying death. He's saying he loves his roots, he loves his people, and he's not going to pretend he's above them just because he got famous. The frustrating part is that there should be a middle ground here, but nobody seems interested in finding it. 21 could admit his message might feel preachy to people still in the trenches, while still standing on the goal of reducing violence. YB could admit that even if he's proud of where he's from, the cycle itself isn't sustainable, and breaking it has value. But in today's hip-hop climate, everything is about sides. Nuance gets killed. There's no room for complexity, no room for two truths existing at once. So where does this go next? Right now, we're in limbo. 21 said his piece, YB said his piece, and everybody's watching to see if this cools off or blows up. The real danger is if this stops being just words. We've seen this movie way too many times in hip-hop, where words turn into something much darker. And that's the crazy irony here. A situation that started with 21 trying to reduce street violence, potentially creating even more of it. Now there's a real chance this just fizzles out. Neither one of them truly benefits from taking this any further. They both got money, careers, families, and way too much to lose. The real truth is, hip-hop actually needs both of these viewpoints. We need voices like 21 who are willing to stand up and say, nah, we gotta do better. But we also need voices like YB who refuse to dress up the reality of what people are still living through every day. The problem starts when those perspectives clash instead of balancing each other out, when it turns into beef instead of conversation. And honestly, that's where hip-hop is at right now. We're at a point where we can't even agree on whether telling people to stop killing each other is a positive thing. Let that sink in. That's how deep this street mentality runs. But one thing is clear, 21 Savage stood firm on his stance, and he made it known he's not backing down just because people feel uncomfortable.
At the same time, NBA YoungBoy made it just as clear he's not switching up for anyone. He's going to represent the streets how he sees fit, period. Now it's just a waiting game. Either this escalates or they find a way to exist with totally different philosophies. But no matter what happens next, one thing can't be denied. The conversation is happening now. And that matters, whether you agree with 21 or not. At the end of the day, both of them are speaking their truth. 21 is talking from the perspective of someone who survived it and doesn't want others to repeat his pain. YB is talking from the perspective of someone who's still navigating that same environment in real time. Maybe instead of arguing about who's right, the better question is this: how do we take the best from both sides and actually apply it? How do we respect where we come from while still pushing towards something better? That's the real challenge. So let me know what y'all think. Is 21 right for pushing the fuck the streets movement? Or is YB right that no man should tell another man how to live? Do you think this situation gets worse, or does it eventually cool off? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe, because you already know we're covering all the hip-hop drama as it unfolds. This story is far from finished, trust me. Until next time, stay safe out there. And remember, whether you're with the streets or trying to leave them behind, the real goal is making it out alive. Peace.